Welcome to Heber Valley Life, the podcast that celebrates the people, projects, and passions shaping our mountain community. I'm so excited to welcome my friend today, Diann Glenn, a powerhouse of quiet leadership in Heber Valley. So, Diane, let's start by telling our listeners a little bit about yourself. Things that I didn't know professionally and personally. I know you wear many hats. You're an instructor, you're a community volunteer, you're a loving wife and mom. So, give us a little snapshot of your day to day.
Wow. So I was born and raised here in Wasatch County, and I have a love for this county, for this valley, for the people here. Um, a snapshot of my day is running around because, like everybody,
But Tuesdays are special. Tuesdays are teaching days.
Mondays,
Mondays.
Mondays, and soon to be Mondays and Wednesdays. I teach at Ensign College down in Salt Lake. I teach interior design classes. So after I graduated from Wasatch High, I went to Utah State, and I was determined to be a special ed teacher until I got there and realized I didn't want to do that. So I started floundering and ended up getting a degree in interior design, which is awesome because it's a service industry. I get to help people make their spaces better. So now I get to teach students how to do that and share my knowledge. It's awesome.
So, but now I want to come to your house and see how you've applied that into your own life. I had the opportunity to meet your husband, 12, 13 years ago, and I knew you because you grew up with my brother, but it was fun to see how Mike had retired and just kind of jumped into volunteering. He was helping with the Floundering Arts Council, so maybe that's something you guys do together is find programs that are struggling and then jump in.
Well, okay, this is a true confession. When he went to retire, I told him, you have to find something to do or you're going to make me crazy.
So that
But he naturally, so he found the Arts Council. Actually, it found him. But he is very service oriented too.
Yeah.
And we both, that's our love language, if you will.
Oh, it's great. Yes, sir. Well, one of the things that I found really interesting was the Swiss Days Baking Committee. And I have to admit to everyone, I had a little sweet tooth and saw on social media that the Relief Society was baking Bratzleys at the Midway.
We call it the Cannery Building. It's the station hall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So drove over to purchase some warm Bratzleys, and there you were. And I wasn't surprised at all that you're in your baking gear and your apron, and you were kind enough to give me a little tour of the cannery. But it made me so curious about Swiss Days. I've always purchased from the Relief Society tent. I admitted that I go in for my Bratzleys and my bread. But I would love you to help us understand the process that goes behind the scenes to create that Relief Society baked good tank that for 2 days is jam-packed with people buying all these amazing baked goods.
It's an amazing booth.
Yeah.
It's, I started helping with the booth probably 9 years ago.
Okay.
It's all 100% volunteer. You know, that's something a lot of people don't know about Swiss Days. It is 100% volunteer. And the ladies start baking Bratzleys in June. So for the month of, the end of June, and then the whole month of July, they're baking Bratzleys. And then August, we switch over to Swiss bread. Yeah, we start making the Swiss bread and cinnamon roll. That's something so yummy.
Yes.
And they bake every day, Monday through Friday. So if you ever are hankering for to come and help,
Right.
Come on over and help, or to come and purchase, they've just started selling the days that they're baking.
And the reason why they're in the cannery is because they're selling it commercially.
Yes.
They have to be in a clean environment.
Yes.
Commercial environment. And so this is something that has evolved over the years.
Right.
But really does guarantee you're going to get a quality product, a clean product, has met the health department's codes, and it's a recipe that is very consistent.
Yes.
And so when you're purchasing these Bratzleys and breads and cookies, it's a
commercial kitchen.
So I think it's important that people know that this isn't just someone, bringing a plate of cookies and saying, hey, sell this for $5.
It used to be that all of the bread and everything was done at home, and then they'd bring it and sell it. We do still have some home baking that happens with the cookies and such,
Right.
but a lot of it does happen at the cannery building. and we have our food hampers permits. It's all legit, right? It's all above board. There's probably, you had asked once, how many volunteers does this take?
Right.
And I'm like, my word, I've never counted. So last night I'm like, well, there's like this many people, this many shifts, such. It's well over 600 volunteers that make this happen. And it's all summer long, and then we sell it in 2 days. We make about 46,000 bratzleys, about 2,200 loaves of bread. It's
Amazing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. And it's not just summer though. And I asked you, when do you start? And you said the day after Swiss Days ends. Like planning and coordinating. And it's not just baking, it's the ingredients, it's coordinating, purchasing,
all of that. So I was over baking for a few years. I'm not over that part anymore. I now do the purchasing for Swiss Days, where everything except the food that is cooked on the square. So I literally do start the day after Swiss Days.
Yeah.
We start inventorying and planning for next year, what worked well, what we need to change. And yeah, it takes a year.
And the organizing group is the Midway Boosters.
So the Midway Boosters is the umbrella for it. The Swiss Days has its own committee, and we're underneath the Midway Boosters. But it's its own executive committee, and it functions amazing just under their umbrella.
But I really don't think people like me that aren't involved in the details of Swiss Days have any idea the amount of work, preparation, time that's being dedicated by volunteers. And you're not a supply chain manager, and all of a sudden you've become an expert on purchasing and understanding what it takes to get enough bread, sugar, eggs, butter, all that.
Spatulas, aprons, hairnets, right? Yeah, all of that. And the beauty of Swiss Days, it's a year-long process for this group, but it's many hands pull this off. It's all of the people who are willing to come and volunteer.
Yeah.
And the most beautiful thing about Swiss Days is how it builds the community.
That camaraderie that you get.
You're at Joss, standing there in a booth, cutting up fruit. We're all wearing the same T-shirt and hat. And it doesn't matter who you are, what your background is. You're there together for a common cause. And that's what builds the community. A lot of people think that it's all about the money. The Swiss Days is making all this money. And it does make a profit, but it's not the millions that people think.
No. Because it's very expensive.
Very expensive.
Between porta potties, transportation,
yes,
renting. Diamond Rental comes in and says all those hotels. And so there is a significant cost to putting on this event. And, I've heard numbers between 40,000 and 80,000. It all depends on who's counting.
Yeah. Well, and what expenses did we have that year?
Yeah. And what the weather's like.
Very true. Those ladies come regardless.
It's been interesting to watch the evolution of Swiss Days since my childhood, where it was very handcrafted, very Halloween decoration focused, very Christmas decoration focused, to now where you get anywhere from jewelry to fine arts to handcrafted materials, interior decorating on a dried flowers. There's always the item, which sells out by noon on Friday. And I think all those things are wonderful. I've heard people say, but what's the Swiss component of it? And I don't think they recognize or realize that it's really Swiss Days because of the origins of Midway, right? And
it's
people at Midway.
Celebrating. It's Midway's celebration. It's their town celebration. We just invite the whole state to come. But it is our party for Midway, because it was a lot of Swiss immigrants.
It's your party, but you're doing all the work.
Yeah. But we get the blessings from it.
Yeah.
How many times have you heard there's just something special about this town or this valley? And it's that sense of community, because we're pulling together. Right now, our society is so polarizing and self-focused that just pulls a community apart. But when you have something like Swiss Days, it brings everyone together for a common cause. And the benefit is that we're building community. We're helping to strengthen the community. And a positive note is we do make some money on the side.
that you can give back in other ways.
And it does go, a lot of people don't know this, but the proceeds that we do generate, half of it goes to Midway Boosters, which is a service organization in Midway. And they do the 4th of July breakfast and the scholarships and beautifications. And I mean, there's a whole list of things that they do. And then the other half goes to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to the humanitarian fund that they have. And then that money goes throughout the world and does good throughout the world. So it's just a win-win. Always.
I would invite listeners, if you haven't been to Swiss Days, or even if you have for years and it's kind of your tradition like it is our family, do something different. Go in and see the William Tell show, or sit and listen to Carrie Hobbs or the yodelers with the Swiss bell ringers.
Yes.
Because that's what sometimes we overlook in the frenzy of the crowds, that there is a celebration happening at Swiss Days. The Glockenspiel,
Yes.
as it goes every hour. And sometimes it's hard to see those things that really do represent the Swiss heritage of Midway, because we get caught up in the crowds and the hustle and bustle of the shopping. But I encourage the listeners to take a step back. And even the parade.
Oh, it's not fun.
Because the parade really is the locals. I loved it, I think 2 years ago, where they had the Mountain Bernese dogs walking in honor of Blue, who was a dog that had been, some unfortunate circumstances, but it represented the community coming together.
Right.
And I have to recognize the Swiss Miss.
Oh, yes.
Who
Are they
really
darling?
are such great ambassadors.
Yes.
They and their mothers and a few dads there, spend so much time prepping to prepare to perform. But they are articulate, they are adorable, and they really do represent kind of the youth of Midway. And it's just really fun to see these girls. And I didn't realize they actually then go out. I noticed that they perform at the Kindle Market in December. And it's just like, look at all these great things that are happening that you could miss and overlook if you got caught up in something else, right? Instead of seeing really what it was representing, right? So I love that you've been there 8 or 9 years, making sure those Bratzleys are being made, because they're my favorite.
They're really good.
Yeah, I want to transition our conversation to Wasatch Community Foundation.
Okay.
So this is where I really kind of first met you. You oversee a backpack program that happens in our community. And for those that aren't aware of it, it's the Wasatch Community Foundation originally started as a scholarship program and then realized there was need in the community that wasn't being met. And so they now have different pillars that are trying to meet people in their need. And one of the areas that became apparent, I think, through the school district, was there are kids going home hungry. And I want you to tell us about this backpack program, how you got involved, how you do what you're doing.
Sure. So it actually starts probably when my daughter was in 2nd grade, so 11 years ago or 10 years ago. I was working with the PTA, like many moms do.
Yeah.
And the Utah Food Bank was actually bringing up food for the weekends for the counselors to hand out to the students who were in need. And about 3/4 into the way, or through the school year, they just stopped. They said, we're not doing that anymore. And so the PTAs at each of the schools, we scrambled to make sure that there was food for these kids for the rest of the year, for the weekends. And it quickly became apparent that this was not sustainable, right? To be able to.
You can't just scramble every week.
Yes, you can't.
Do we have another cup of soups?
Yes, exactly. So Dave Johnson at the CCPC Food Pantry volunteered to take that on, which was a much better fit, with his resources and such. So he started doing this and working with the PTAs and with the school counselors. The counselors are vital into these programs. They know these kids. They know who needs them.
I know the need.
They know the need. And so he started providing the food. So the PTA then started helping him do fundraisers or food drives, to get this.
Working with grocery stores. I know that's a big thing.
That's, but it was all donations.
Wow.
All donations.
Wow.
And it has evolved. Unfortunately, there are more needs. There are more kids. But it's all still through donations. This is happening. People will call me and they're like, we just need a quick service activity. What can we do? And I'm like, put together some food bags. Last year, they handed out 10,662, I think it is, food bags. And most of those food bags go to the elementary kids.
Yeah.
By the time the kids get into middle school, they're embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm not happy
So
to sit
sad.
with that. Yeah.
They're
So
so
happy.
Yeah.
And then in the high school, we have a food pantry, so they can actually go and access food there. So that's a lot of food. You know, and it's in a 9-month period. So I sat down this morning, I was kind of thinking this through. I'm like, well, how many kids is that now? And they hand the bags out now just because of manpower and such. They do it every other week now at the schools instead of every weekend. And it's 600 kids that they're serving.
And I had this conversation earlier this week with someone that actually worked in preschool at Midway Elementary. She didn't realize it was district wide. And she said she remembers helping the kids put their food bags in their backpacks and how these kids just shined because they knew they had something to do that weekend. But I also, in that same conversation, there were people in the room that said, we're such an affluent community. How can this be possible? So there's also some ignorance about the needs that are within our community. And then the other question is, well, why don't some of the parents just buy it for them, right? Why are these kids needing to rely on the schools and the goodness of other people? So I would love to understand your perspective because you've been in it. You've been in the trenches for 11 years now. And yes, our community has changed. The homes that are being built are beautiful. People that are moving here maybe don't understand what's really happening in the United States.
I get this question a lot.
Yeah.
There's no need here. Look at how affluent we are. I hear that so much. And these people are here, that they're flying under the radar. They don't want to be seen. Who wants to be known, for needing help?
Well, it's an embarrassment.
It is.
Embarrassment.
Yeah, it is. And I see the need going up. I was at the food pantry the other day talking with my dear friend Valeria, and I was just watching people coming and going, and there's some really nice cars, very well-dressed people that are coming to the food bank, and they're not doing that because they're trying to beat the system. No, it's embarrassing to go to the food bank.
Yeah.
You have to humble yourself to say, I need help. So there are a lot of people really hurting right now, but they may not show it, but it's happening. And unfortunately, with a lot of the money that is moving into the valley, property taxes are going up, rent's going up. It's hurting these people even more. It's pushing them down even more. And people I don't think really realize that is happening. And now also the cost of food is up and such. Donations are going down.
Right.
So our need is going up. Donations are going down. And there are some real struggles happening in our community.
And the kids are so vulnerable, right? They don't have the resources, right? And so I didn't realize that, it started with the school district and kind of that, okay, you're on your own. So how has the community foundation bridged that gap? So the Christian Center becomes kind of they're the warehouse.
Yes.
But how is it that the community foundation now is bridging that gap for funding and resourcing?
Mm-hmm. It's a community effort. So we do take donations, monetary donations. And when food is on sale, the case lot sales and some, we go and we purchase as much as we can to stock their shelves to help them out. So we try to stretch the dollar out as far as we can. We also set up food drives that people can contribute food to. We also work with the WPN, which is replaced
Wasatch Parent Network.
The Wasatch Parent Network. And each month during the school year, one school will take a food drive, will sponsor a food drive.
Okay.
And they collect items to go into those food bags. So they're students helping students, which I think is really important too for young children to be able to hand something over to say, I'm helping you. Physically, it's not just write a check because you're not. Right? It's not the same, and we'll take checks, right? My is awesome too. But to be able to physically serve other people, I think it makes them more aware that, hey, there's people in need around me. So, they are doing stuff. Stacy Hartford with Rooney's Ice Cream.
Yeah.
She started a little group called, or an organization called Rooney's Recognizes, and she's doing community service. And she's started making beans and rice food packs that are really yummy.
Yeah.
And so we'll get together and sponsor a group that will come in and assemble those, and we'll put those in the back.
And she'll come to you. I had her come to our youth organization.
Yeah.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so people can donate to Wasatch Community Foundation, which is a tax donation.
Yes.
And so that you need the monetary donations.
We do.
But I love that you can also donate within the schools.
Yeah.
And work with your families and children to.
Or you can donate straight to the food bank.
Or donate.
And you can just, if you're at Costco, grab an extra bag or a box or two of granola bars, and taking it. Or if you want to do a little service project with your family, get the ingredients, and you can get the list from the food pantry. What goes into a bag of food? And that's how your children assemble it and take it in.
And so there are specific foods.
Yes.
It's just not a can of beans.
Correct.
And you got to think, it's kid friendly. I mean, these are kids that could be home alone.
Yes.
That you don't want them on a stovetop. You don't want them in an oven. You need ready-made food that they can.
They actually can do. We do a lot of mac and cheese.
Okay.
So they can cook. Well, they're pretty resourceful kids. I know some of them tell me we can't put anything with a can because I can't open a can. I'm like, oh yeah, they can. If I can open a can.
These kids are spiders.
And you can also just go into the food pantry and just volunteer to assemble bags. You have half an hour once a week. You can go in. And in fact, they are really short on volunteers right now. They would love to have some more volunteers come in and help.
And how would someone do that?
Just go into the pantry, ask for Valeria Cruz, and just say, I want to volunteer, and she'll put you to work. And it can be as little as half an hour, or I've got a couple hours.
Oh, wow.
And it could be once a week or twice a week,
whatever fits your schedule. I should know that. So I'm going to take you up on that.
Oh, it is fun. It's a fun, wholesome atmosphere. Makes you feel it's one of those make you feel good moments to go in and work there. Kind people, wonderful.
Do you find a language barrier at times? And I throw that out only because I speak Spanish, and I find I'm more comfortable stepping into that.
Yes,
because even if it's just a basic conversation,
yes,
where I have family members that aren't as comfortable stepping into volunteer opportunities because there's that. Am I going to be able to talk to them?
Right. And that's real.
Yeah.
Right? It's a real fear. I don't speak Spanish. My kids do. They've gone through the dual immersion program. Now, do they speak it? But it hasn't been a barrier. There's always someone around who can help. I've used Google Translate on my phone before too. It's not the most accurate. Sometimes you get funny things, but
then that's a reason to laugh.
But it works out. It works out. You're blessed when you do it. It will work out.
So I just think it's amazing that there is this need that I think a lot of people aren't aware of it. You have stepped up. You're now leading this program, but you've got to need volunteers to be your own program.
Yes.
And then I know during the community Thanksgiving dinner, you're there prepping things so that families in need can take home additional food, because long weekends are especially hard.
Yes.
Holidays. Fall break is a week long. Christmas break is 2 weeks long. A lot of those times, those are the high season in the tourism industry, which a lot of people are working in. Kids are home alone.
Yes.
How do you prepare for that? And how do you gear up food-wise to make sure that you've got what you need?
It's the community.
Yeah.
It is that we reach out to the community. So, these students, because we know them because of the school, right? We're connected to them through that. But they have siblings too. Some of them aren't in school yet. Some of them are older, middle school, high school. So it's not just that elementary age that we're serving. So we do a project. It's called the Christmas Food Box, or I call it food bags. We put bags now at Christmas time. And we reach out to the whole community. We divided the community into sections. We're like, okay, you guys in this section, you bring 2 cans of beans and top ramen.
We did cereal.
Yeah.
That I most recently remember.
Yes. And we try to rotate it around so it's different each year.
Yeah. Things are more expensive than cereal was $5 a box.
Yes.
Very different from
a
bag of rice.
Yes. And we try to keep it about $5. If you were to go out and buy everything on your list,
Yeah.
that's going to be donated, it would be $5. So it's not a huge draw on the,
Yeah.
drain on the community.
Yeah.
And then the community, we just put it out there. This is what we need. We filled 1,200 bags for Christmas. So we do the Christmas because it's that 2-week break that you're talking about. These kids aren't at school. They're not getting the breakfast and the lunch that they provide at school. So Christmas is a tough one.
Right.
And in the summertime, they can go and there are programs to get school lunch.
And summer.
I
I know that the first day of summer, they serve 600 lunches. Wow. And so
It's amazing.
there's a need, and there's also some camaraderie.
Yes. Yes.
These kids know that they can come down to Heber Valley Elementary in the summertime and see a friend, play on the playground, and get a healthy, nutritious lunch, whether they choose to eat that, or not. But the stuff that you're putting in the bags really are bridging that gap of hunger versus feeling fed.
Yes. And that is a magical program. It's amazing that it always happens, that it works. It's a spiritual experience. I have seen miracles. I've witnessed miracles of the miracles of the fish and loaves where we did not have enough food to fill those bags. But at the end, we had filled every bag and we had food left over to turn back to the food pantry.
But it's because the community
It's the community.
But because you're there, honestly, Diane, you're there because you saw a need 11 years ago. You stepped in and said, I don't want a kid to go hungry. And because of you, these kids are getting food.
And to see the joy on their faces when we hand them out. And something, too, that's a need that, because we're not handing them out through school. We're handing them out through CCPC for their Operation Hope program, where they're getting, it's a Sub for Santa program. We do a lot with search and rescue. We hand out a lot through them. But then we're also working with about 5 other Sub for Santa groups. So they're reaching kids that aren't being reached through the school system. So we're able to help them.
Yeah, because there are families that have youngers. Amazing. Well, thank you. And I think it's important that the community realize the need is there. There are easy ways to help, either monetary or going into the food bank or donating food. But find out the list, get the list of what's needed. School starts in 2 weeks. And
Here we go.
Here we go again. So there's no rest.
Yeah.
I mean, you're right back at it. Yeah. All break happens.
Last month, was it? Time goes so fast. It was last month. The chamber asked if they could do a service project.
That's right.
I'm like, can you put together some food bags? Because school's starting, we need this. And so, yeah, they started.
And it's great that the business community is now seeing. Yeah. Now you have 40 people in this community that probably weren't aware that this is happening and that was happening.
It's something fun too, going back to that Christmas program. Because the community members come and assemble these bags. We just have a huge assembly line and they fill up these bags. They have kids running back and forth. The spirit that's there and the happiness that is there is just wonderful. And I have so many people who come up to me and say, well, I love this. When can I do it again? Can you do this in the summer? Can you, It's a wonderful blessing. It makes everyone feel good.
Yeah. And that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need to show the need. And yes, it helps us, but you're helping somebody that so desperately needs this.
Yes.
I love it. All right. Although I don't want to transfer away from this because I think you've done such an amazing job.
With the help of the community.
The community.
It's not me.
Right. But you're willing to put yourself in a position to be the hands to guide this program. And so I'm so appreciative because it really is. It takes people like you that 11 years ago saw a need when your own daughter was in school and you didn't walk away when the year was over.
That.
Now I know. So you're amazing. So well done. But I want to turn to the work that you're doing with the Midway Historic Preservation Committee. You inspired me last year as you and I were both attending a historic preservation conference in Provo. And you were telling me about these great little markers, these historic markers that the Midway Historic Preservation Committee had decided to highlight the stories of Midway through some of the existing buildings that are still standing. The cannery, was the first to receive this building marker. And I love that the work of the mission of this committee is celebrating Midway by preserving our historic past. And you do have the Midway boosters to help with some of your financial needs there. But there's two projects that stand out. So the historic building markers, which the cannery has the first one. And I will admit, because of the work that you were doing there, it inspired me to start the Heber walking tour. And we have 34 buildings plus 4 monument signs. That's fantastic. In Heber City that you can now go visit. And we're at Heber City. And the second project you're doing is the oral and video histories. And I want to dive into that a little bit deeper because you got a grant from the Utah Humanities Program, but you also created these videos and interviewed some of Midway's finest residents. And I had the opportunity to go back and look at the Jerry Springer interview. Yes. And Jerry did pass away this summer. And he was a treasured historian. And as I watched that video and listened to him tell the story of kind of Midway's founding, the original settlers, I just thought, what a treasure to not only hear Jerry talk about Midway and his own recollection growing up in Midway, right, but just the early origins. And without this project, we wouldn't have that. So tell me how it came about. I know you're working with
Steve
Heiner, and then
well, it's the committee. Yeah. Athena and Cappy, and it's everything. Canal. Yes, with the city. So this grant, my husband saw this grant, and he's like, I think we should go for this grant. Let's do these oral histories because we need to collect this information. Because once these people pass, that history is gone, right? With them. So we applied for the grant, and to be honest, money-wise, it wasn't worth it. The amount of work, but it was a motivator to get us to push us ahead, which was wonderful because Jerry was the first person we interviewed, and it's an interview and a video, so we video them and get their story. And Steve Heiner, I mean, talk about the right people being in the right place at the right time. This is truly, we were blessed. This is what he has done as a profession, is to do videos. And he's retired and from back in New York, I believe, and now he's come here. He's come back here. His family had a home in Midway. So he's back at the family home, and he just volunteers his time, and he does a beautiful job. So they interviewed Jerry, and unfortunately, I think it was a month after we did the interview, he passed away. So we were able to catch that information from him as best as he could remember. Right. Because he was older. It has been an amazing experience to go and interview these people and to watch these videos. Yeah. And to get a glimpse of what life was like in Midway. It kind of makes me homesick, to be honest, to go back in time where dirt roads, being aboard the horses and the cows before I go to school. And we used to slide down the hill at Memorial Hill. There's just some wonderful stories that we've been able to capture. At the end of the grant, to wrap that up, we had to have a community open house, and talk about what we did and what is our program moving forward and how we're going to continue with this. And we thought, we were lucky to get 20 people to come to this open house because, who's interested, right? We ended up having well over 60 people in this little room, and it was standing room only. They were out in the hall trying to listen, and people were starting to give us ideas. Well, you need to interview this person, and we're also telling them, go out and interview your own family, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Right. Just capture it. My dad died when I was 17, and we have no video. Well, we have one video of him, but it doesn't have any audio. Right. So I'm like, I don't even remember what my dad's voice sounded like. So to capture this for future generations is priceless. Right. And the histories are just amazing. These people are amazing. And all of them say, I have nothing to say. I don't have anything special. But once you get them talking, just their life.
The firsthand accounts of day to day, going to school, milking the cows, what they had to do for groceries. They were eating the eggs that they collected. Exactly. The sheep, the cows, the chickens they were raising. I mean, Midway was a farming community and pretty isolated. Yes. And I don't think we really recognize that now because we see the hustle and bustle in this cute little quintessential mountain town with great restaurants and amazing views and good recreation. But we forget where it came from. Right.
And we stand on the shoulders of all the people that came before us. And they're great people. And we need to recognize that. And we are who we are because of them. We have what we have because of them and what they sacrificed and what they did and their visions. And we need to recognize that
and honor.
and honor it.
Diane, I have loved this. You really are amazing. And I often see you in an apron behind the scenes
With a hairnet.
but you're making the magic happen. Like you said, there's a special feeling when you do what you do. But I want to ask you, why do you serve? What is it that makes Diann Glenn do these programs that you're doing and you don't stop? Why do you do this?
It's a great question because my answer has always been because I love it. This is my bucket filler. This is what gives me joy. But doing this little interview has helped me stop and really think, why am I doing this? What do I get out of it? And, I don't get paid for any of the work I do. My kids are always like, Mom, you should just go back to work. You do all this work and I smoke at night.
Nearly as fulfilling.
It is not. The blessings I receive from doing this I can't even count them. And the people that I have met and the friendships that I have, I would never have these friendships if I hadn't been with these different groups and serving with different people. So, it's amazing. And I love when you walk somewhere and you're like, oh, I know you, and let's have something to talk about. It's my bucket filler.
But you really are a community builder. That's the purpose of this program is to recognize people that are building the community through good works, through service, through the work they do. I mean, you really, not just in one area, you saw a need with the kids in backpack program. You're doing the baking for Swiss Days that isn't just about 2 days. It's a year-long commitment. Learning supply chain and becoming a great little baker and making bratzlies and bread, but it's more than that. It's because, like you said, it fills your need, but you're serving so many people. And I want to commend you and recognize the work and the love that you're sharing because it really is about people.
It is. Well, it's about building community. Because if we're strong as a community, we can survive so much. But if we're disjointed and we're not pulling together, you don't thrive. We need community.
Yeah, I love it. Well, this has been so amazing, and I'm going to commit to volunteer at the food bank. I've never known what the need was there, and so if it's as easy as just walking in and saying,
sign me up. I love it. And it might be putting food on the shelves. It might be filling food bags. It's different every time you go, but you'll be blessed.
And I think it's important that people understand the need for the backpack program is real. It's real, whether monetary, donating food, or if they want to help even with the bags, just like the chamber did.
Yeah.
Pull a group together and put those bags together.
Yes, and we definitely can get a list for
it. This has been so good. So I just want to encourage anyone that has listened to Diane and I today to find a way to serve. We've given you some great options, and I just appreciate the work you're doing.
Yeah.
Thanks. So from Heber Valley Life podcast, I'm Rachel Kahler, the Executive Director of the Community Alliance for Main Street. Grateful for Diann Glenn and Mike, your husband, that do so much in community. And we're grateful for Gordon Law Group, who allows us to meet in his beautiful studio, and Heber Life Magazine, that really is the driving force of why we're doing this, is to create and tell the stories of our community builders like Diane, like you. So thank you again. Signing off for now, and we'll be in touch soon. Awesome. Thanks.